people misunderstand you for, because again, you're a beautiful woman, you're a businesswoman, but you're
Mhm.
human at the end of the day. And like I said, you have trolls. Now, what you don't understand is that trolls that's on your page, they actually know you. You just don't know who they are.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
kind of crazy. So, what's the most inconception? The most how can I say? What's the thing that you hear that's not true about you because they think of you?
Insecure a lot. And I'm like, that is the furthest
Insecure.
thing away from me. Like, like as you can see, like you can't hide
Can't fake this.
insecurity. Like you get me, like you could tell, like I know that you could tell right away that I'm
Oh
comfortable
yeah.
with my own skin. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
not that. It's just that I haven't been outside like that,
Right.
that's not the way that I was raised. I always joke around, I tell my husband, baby, I'm foreign, and I don't have that much mind, so don't play around, with him. But the thing is that, there's a lot of things, because I had a child and I had to be a mom so early on in life.
Yeah.
It was just work. I didn't have time for play. You get what
Right.
I'm trying to say? I had to be a mom, and I had to, provide. So from the age of 18 years old, right? It was always like game time. It was always like I didn't get that, college experience. I didn't get that, club era because I always had dependents, and then I had another dependent, and then I had another dependent, because
Hmm.
unfortunately, woman is always looking for love. That's the truth, unfortunately, I didn't come from, the best background. I mean, I have an amazing background as far as, my dad got up, prayed, but it was a broken home,
Right.
my mom lived over here. I mean, you guys will follow that, on Love and Hip Hop, too
Yeah.
long to say, but I couldn't play, I couldn't
No.
play. So I was always going to work, always coming home, going to work, and I'm a home person now, or maybe I'm not. Who even knows? Because I haven't even had time to really like think about that. I've always had to do the right thing, like I have
Yeah.
kids to raise. I can't be, I've always had an environment that I had to be conscious of. I had
Mm.
to be conscious of how I spoke. I always had to be conscious of how I presented myself. I always had to, I was never going to sell out, so I always grind. I was, hardworking. At one point, my sister didn't have any papers. I had to become provided for her. Uh,
Mm.
so always had a lot, just going on. And so when you're out here and to somebody that has fresh eyes, okay, not tainted eyes, because that's what we got out here. You got tainted eyes because
Hmm.
can no longer see things correctly if you always seen it and that's what I try to explain, to my husband, and to him, he's not ever going to understand that either, because if you grew up in the strip club and you 18, but I grew up in the church when I was 18, you feel what
See,
I'm saying? Even,
different.
but like it's different because my husband has
Yeah.
that. I'm not trying to downplay, but
No. I know.
the vision
Yes.
is different.
Completely different.
No, it's completely different. So when I go out here, some of the things and that I see are brand new to me. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
like whoa, like I say, and you, if you really, really are paying attention in the show, you'll realize that. When
Yeah.
I go and I approach these women, like I'm not this woman that I'm entitled. You know,
Right.
no, like yo, these women, I am somebody that I'm always gonna clap if you worked hard, you came from nothing and you made it into something. Because I know
Mm.
what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
My husband, if I get anxiety and if I get extra pressure, is because I realize that I could undo what my husband has worked so hard for. A bad interview,
Mhm.
a wrong picture, and now my husband's a fool. These men also have to understand what they have for a woman to think like that. You feel what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But that's
Yeah.
a woman who has reverence to what he is. You feel
Mm.
what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's a lot. Like so this insecure shit. No, it's que, you know, like yo, don't y'all really, y'all it's really